Hey y'all, what's going on? What's happening? What's popping? I can always tell you what's dropping. Yeah, me. Yeah, man. I feel like I just want to just fall out. I've been grinding so hard over the last couple of weeks. I made a shift back to Shopify to start marketing some other merchandise that cannot be put onto the Etsy website. So kind of making a lot of changes, a whole lot of detailed information, looking to expand to Amazon, Walmart, TikTok, and some other platforms. Putting our merchandise out into the merchant marketplace. Yeah, just trying to solidify some of those things. We're coming up on the holiday season, so I just want to make sure everything is available for you, no matter where it is that you shop. You'll be able to find a lane for you merchandise. Best prices on the planet, best designs. They're not AI generated. And I'm going to do a show and show you what the process actually looks like, how much time is actually put into taking something right from a blank sheet. I'm going to walk you through, and it takes a while to develop and to ensure that whatever design we're putting out, there's labor put into it. We get wraps, but the wraps are all enhanced. They're integrated with other pieces. It's a work of art. It's not just something that we're just going to take offline from somebody else's uh, uh, craft and just slap it on and say, here, take this. I mean, it's like a matter of taking a picture of a dog, creating an environment for the dog to be in, enhancing some things about the dog's appearance. There's a lot of stuff that actually goes into creating the works of A Lane for You. But last week we were talking about um, love and giving a better definition of what many have kind of settled upon as being what love is, and it's not that at all, but it's what you've convinced yourself it is. And when you're young, that's very relevant. My first sexual experience was at the age of 13 with an adult woman. Um, and we don't have those conversations about uh, how sex negatively impacts the psyche. But we do talk about, yeah, they're smelling itself, they're doing this, they're doing that. So um, you kind of begin to see the evidence of what happens when sex takes place for a child. Let's be clear, we're talking about under the age of 18. And the younger the age, the more negative the impact. This thing that we keep calling love. But at the end of the day, what it is just endorphins. It's dopamine. It's a chemical reaction to a good feeling. That's what it is. That's all it is. It has nothing to do with what I have come to learn uh, that love is, what it should look like, what it encompasses. Love entails responsibilities, duties, the ability to carry those things out, the capacity, uh, the uh, the emotional intelligence. There's a lot more, that I've come to learn through my adult years to define love. It's adequate care. It has nothing to do with this feeling. You can get excited about seeing somebody. You can be happily married, but you'll go to see, you know, um, a recording artist or somebody get excited about seeing that person, a group, but it's not the same level of excitement when you are interested in coupling up with another person. It's a different feeling because you're not, well, sometimes you are looking to have sex with the recording artist. But the possibility increases if you're attracted to that person. Hey, yeah, I like that. If I see me some so and so, and I'd love to see her, you know. Um, but that's where it begins. It's an attraction. It's a desired feeling, but the feeling is not love. You can eat chocolate ice cream and feel wonderful, fantastic, fulfilled even, and don't have the stress and the strain attached to being coupled up with another person. But it's a choice. It's a choice. So we talked about that last week. Um, being very clear on defining and what it actually was like when you saw this person. We talked about the fuzziness that you feel, that excitability that that person seemed to bring to your life, but that doesn't make it love. It doesn't make it love. You can see any kind of scenery and be wowed by it. If you've never been to the Grand Canyon, if you've never been to Niagara Falls, if you've never been outside of the concrete jungle, it's breathtaking. And you will find some of the things that you experience with this person that you decide to pair up with, couple up with, whatever it is that you did together or sought to do together. You see similarities in the feeling, and you see how fast it goes away once coupling up. You've achieved whatever it is you sought to achieve. So if it wasn't satisfying according to this idea that you had in your head, then what's the likelihood of a repeat performance? If it was an outstanding performance, you're going to be back, in the flow again. Which is something that we should be looking at, because if that was the beginning and in many cases the end, then what was its purpose? At what point did it become love? At what point did it become love? What prevented it from becoming love? Bad sex? Well, at some point in time, if you're staying together, life changes, things change with the person. Trauma rears its ugly head from time to time when a person is triggered. What do you do then if this is what you have branded to be love? So now you're out because you don't like the way the person is responding to whatever's happening inside of them, because that's that this again. I don't want to do this. The problem solving part of the relationship. You don't want to do that. You know, you don't want to have the conversation about, well, what's going on, and being able to work through that together, because that's going to happen. We trigger each other throughout the course of the relationship. So what exactly do you do when those things happen? What is, then it goes back to the question, what is love? Because so far, the only thing we've talked about were chemical reactions to things. Yeah. It's a chemical reaction when your trauma resurfaces because you were triggered. It's a chemical reaction because we were talking about the brain and its role in defining what it is we've termed as love as being a uh, 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 an increase in chemical reactions. We talked about the dopamine, we talked about the oxytocin. Those are chemicals within a human being that happen when these kind of little fluffy, flurry moments, fuzzy moments happen. It's not love. Many have termed it as such. Many have, many are still together today because of that that action that took place within the brain. So it wasn't the heart, it wasn't the spirit, it was actually dopamine. Plain and simple. It's the dopamine. You want that feeling all the time. And because it makes you feel good, you begin to think about the feeling. And you take the feeling that you were getting from the chemical reaction because we're vibing, right? We're vibing and we connect. And then you believe that this is the one based off of that. You believe that if you take that whole vibe there and put it together with a few nights out at a 5-star restaurant, a few nights out at the club, at the bar, whatever it is, or a few good nights, you layer those on top of this. And you layered it. So they're layers, right? There's an outer layer, there's an inner layer. Where did it start? Right? It started from an idea. I like to give it her. Oh, dude, look, it's big tight. You, know, you notice the bulge in the groin area, whatever it is, that's the first layer. So when you start looking at relationships falling apart, right? Yes, they fall apart from the inside out because you pursued it from the outside in. So out here is the superficial stuff, the body, the looks, the money, potential of gifting and things of those that nature. Then when you start getting onto the inside of the stuff, it's like, yo, this wasn't, nah, I don't, do we have to talk? No. Why are you talking about that? I don't want to have that conversation. So when you start denying that you have any role in a failed or successful relationship, because you rather give it to somebody else, the success of the relationship depends on both parties, not just one. But then you have some parties who become the lead, who actually become the caretaker, who actually become the band-aid on the bullet wound, which will continue to seep because it's just a band-aid. The bullet hasn't been removed. It may be sitting right on a nerve. It may be sitting right next to the spine, next to the heart, next to an internal organ. We don't know where it landed, but it's still there, which is not the same as trauma, right? It's not the same as trauma. Got to be clear. So you have to look at when you're entering into a relationship and when you're exiting out of a relationship, before you make that decision to treat that person hurtfully, because hurt people, before you begin to treat them hurtfully, you have to ask yourself some simple questions. Some simple questions. Where did this begin? But most of the time, we just go back to where it ended. We don't want to go back to where it began. Because if you go back to where it began, then you have to take ownership. Then you have to be held accountable. And this is a primary reason that so many relationships are just so toxic, it's so chaotic, because you blame the other person for its failure. A person who's a cheater, it's very obvious if you really want to pay attention. You can watch them. All you got to do is sit and watch. That's all you have to do. And regardless of whether even if you're single, it doesn't matter. Because if a person is out on a date with you and they have wandering eyes and you're not the focus of attention during that time that the two of you together, that's a telltale sign for you. This person is not ready for this. They're not ready for this. This is not what they want. You saw that, but you wanted what you wanted, so you turned a blind eye to that behavior. Right? Because what were your intentions? Were you seeking to marry this person? Were you seeking a serious relationship? Were you, what were you seeking? So you have to start there. But many people don't want to start there because if I start there, then I have to tell the truth. So when I hear moms spreading all this negative information about the father this and the father that, he ain't this and he ain't that, he wasn't. But wait a minute, but you slept with him. You used no protection with them. You were involved with this person for some time. Now, because the other aspects of that person's life that are unattractive, you know, those less endearing traits, right? Now you want to make that part of the equation as opposed to looking at your decisions because that's the easy part. But then how many times does the child actually like ask the question, gets the answer, and does something different with the father when they find out the truth or when they take a look at what the truth really is? See, that becomes the issue. But then the parent who sought to just like make themselves look good, make themselves look like the better parent because they became the primary custodial parent. So obviously you're going to look like, because you've had so many things to say about the father. And the same happens with fathers who talk badly about the mothers. So in this article, let me see where I kind of went here for a minute. Let me just slide this over for a bit. I'm sitting outside, as you can see. I didn't feel like taking this laptop back upstairs and reconnecting it. I just sit out on the patio, right? Enjoy some of this warmth, humidity, and just nature itself. You know, it's a good connection. Be sitting out with the elements. It'll be storming soon. The article is on the A Conscious Rethink uh, website. The title of the article is Nine Painful Reasons Why Love Hurts So Much. Right? So I wanted to begin there with to reconnect with last week's show because uh, to really get a good understanding of why there's so many failed or failing relationships, in most cases it's because like we really, this wasn't the plan. It was familiar, it's comfortable to some degree. I can tolerate it. But do you really want to live a life with another person who you're just tolerating? Do you really want to put yourself in a position where you become complacent because it ain't that bad? I mean, really. You know, one of the first papers I did when I was in my associate's studies, the first paper I wrote on was why some women remain in abusive relationships. Yeah, it was important for a couple of reasons. My parents separated because domestic violence. My father was an alcoholic at the time, may rest in peace. That changed before his death. Um, I was a very grisly person about the street life, you know, just didn't handle things real well, yell and scream about this and that. I mean, like, I'd be in the middle of the floor arguing 5 o'clock in the evening. Next thing you know, right, it's daytime. It's time for her to get ready to go to work. Listen, guys, I'm getting ready to lose y'all on Facebook here. So what you want to do is swing over to my Severely Educational Station on YouTube. Just Severely Educational Station. It'll pop right up, or just my name. It'll pop right up, and I'm live on there as well. I've been up pretty much all night just getting this stuff on, like I said, into my stores online. But it's I lost my train of thought. It's important to understand that uh, You have a role in every situation, whether it's perceived by you as negative or not. It doesn't matter. If it's you turning a blind eye to stuff, that's your role. And that doesn't mean you become some hostile woman by saying, okay, but this all men are this and all men are that and all women are this and all women are that. No, no. And I know a person that's what she does all the time. Like she doesn't beat she beats up on men constantly and still in search of. But you listen, no man is going to accept that. No man wants to hear that. No man wants to be confronted with your bad behavior because you failed to heal from the other stuff. Those are decisions you made. Why did you make that decision to be with that person? Oh, y'all lie. Everybody lies. You always get your representative in the beginning of any and every relationship. You get the best behavior from any and everyone. Now, my best and his best are going to be different. What is my best? If I'm being direct, and that's my best behavior, and that's not favorable to you, well, I'm not the one for you. If I'm talking about marriage and the second date or in the first date, I'm not the one for you. Don't waste my time. If it's about we just getting together, we just hooking up, wham bam, okay, we be adults, that's where we're going. But then that's what it's about. But then if it's good, it turns into something else, and you want to stay a little longer, and then you don't have that conversation, and then you just go along with the process, and the next thing you know, it's 2, 3, 4 years down the line, and you still doing it, and somebody makes a decision that they want to do something else, they want to do somebody else, and you be like, well, what happened? Nothing happened. We just became familiar. We just added some consistency to from the first date. We just, spent a little more time together. Nobody had the conversation about love, just together. It happens. So back to the article, 9 painful reasons why love hurts so much. Right? And there's a disclosure on this page. The article is by Steve Phillips Waller. The disclosure, this page may contain affiliate links to select partners. We receive a commission should you choose to make a purchase after clicking on them. I love doing articles because I love other people's work. It's also a matter of learning. I peruse these articles. I don't read them in detail and then come up, with some stuff. No, this article and all other articles I've done, I sit down in the moment, in the here and now, and do the article with you. So I have aha moments too. I have learning moments as well, and I share them with you. Because it's not all about what I think; it's what others think as well. And being able to, elaborate and talk some about what it is, that my experience has been professionally, personally, and what I've seen through the years of my life as examples of living. Okay, so why is love so painful? Why does love hurt so much? Surely, all the emotions you experience, love should be the one that is free from pain. Unfortunately, not. Whilst love may be a feature of your relationship, it is just one thread in the emotional and mental tapestry that makes up a romantic connection. Love is bound to these other aspects of your relationship. And so when you feel pain whilst in love, you associate that pain with the love. For reasons, the reasons for this pain are many, right? So what it goes into, we're going to go right into the list. No one can meet your fantasy expectations of perfection. The early stages of a relationship are not concerned with love, but lust. And lust leaves you blind to the imperfections of your new partner. But lust soon fades, and you are confronted with the stark realities of who this new person in your life really is. You fell in lust with the fantasy person you have in your mind. and are then disappointed when you realize that your partner cannot live up to that fantasy. Think about it. Think about it. Think about what goes to your mind before you even see a person. What are you thinking about? What are you looking for? What are you looking for? Why is that what you're looking for? How does the other person who you're looking for this in know that this is what you're looking for? You say, well, they don't. They don't. It all depends on who you encounter. If you're paying attention to the signals between one another, the vibe. If you pay attention to the vibe, you and I vibing doesn't mean that you and I are going to get married, have children, have a white picket fence on and a house on the hill. It's a sense. There's something within you that desires something within me, right? You may perceive me as being a wild and amazing, nasty lover. You may, you may see me as being somebody who can do things for you, who can buy you things, who can take you places, right? So is that really a chemical reaction, such as that which we define love as being when this show started out this morning? Think about it for a minute. Where did you get the idea this was love? You told yourself this. You created it within your own mind that this was love. And if you didn't create that within your own mind that this was love, then the question becomes, why did you not separate yourself from it when you saw that the other person may very well be experiencing some deep rooted feelings for you? Why didn't you take responsibility and do something about it? Because you could have. Why didn't you? Why at some point didn't you become honest enough to sit down and say, hey, things were great, but I'm not I'm not trying to go in like that. But when do you have that conversation? Is the question. When is too soon? When is too late? Right? Do you say it after we have sex and then I'm getting ready to go jump in the shower? You'd be like, nah, you can just go ahead and get dressed and be good. Or do you wait until you wake up in the morning, sit down and have breakfast and be like, hey, everything was great, everything was nice? Or do you wait 1, 2, 3 weeks, months down the line and say, yo, it was, it started out, but you typically have that conversation after you already have been with the person for some time, established some familiarity. Now you don't like what you see, but you didn't see that in the beginning anyway, or did you? And again, did you turn the blind eye to it? There's a whole lot you can learn about a person in a matter of minutes. A whole lot you can learn. From the time they drive up in the parking lot, they're meeting you at the restaurant. You know, when they drive up, how do they drive? How's their mannerisms, their etiquettes, in driving, encountering other people? Because this is an opportunity for you to see what you like and what you don't like. You know, why do you have to give somebody another opportunity to show you another aspect of what you don't like? Because you're not looking for what you like, you're looking for what you don't like. Right? Because when you're looking at the person from a fantasy driven perspective, you're looking at them and you're watching them pretty much float across the water. It's like one of those Bo Derek moments, Bo coming up out of the ocean and water adjusting, and you're having one of those moments, you know, or Luther, walking across the beach and, his pecs and everything shining and glistening in the sun as he kind of just walks across, this fantasy that you have in your head, which I'm none of that. But in your mind, that's what you told yourself. This is the part of you preparing yourself for the big showdown or the big letdown, whatever it becomes for you. But everything initially it's expectations there. It's expectations. You want to know what they feel like, what they taste like. You want to just get that little brush across your thigh, light touching of the hand. You start experiencing that person. You know? So you have to look at nobody's going to meet that expectation. Nobody. Nobody can fulfill your fantasy, right? Number two, acceptance is difficult. Once you are free from the rose tinted glasses of lust and can see more clearly, you realize that you are going to have to accept your new partner's many flaws as you perceive them. And I just got finished talking about that. And here it is in number two. You start seeing these are flaws. These are things I don't do this. I don't do that. Nah, he does this, and I'm not cool with that. Nah. You start picking a person apart, right? What are you looking for? Think about it. What are you really looking for? Way too much television embedded in that brain, right? Because that's what it's like different signals. You're watching this show, and the dopamine is flowing. Like my wife likes to watch those the housewives show and shows like that. They irritate the hell out of me. They send like bad signals to my brain. Like, it's like it's just noisy. It's loud. It's just it's sickening to me, and that's how I see the things. I like calmness. I like gentleness, and not just gentleness in touch, but gentleness in thought. In conversation. Oh, I'm not telling you that you can't be intense. You can be intense and be gentle. I'm intense. I'm a very intense person. Um, but it's an approach to life which really gives you uh, the somewhat an inside look into how that person is going to be dealing with things that we have to confront in a relationship, likes and dislikes. Okay, you don't have to like a thing, but do you get angry about the fact that you don't like it? If I don't like it, that doesn't mean I dislike it. It means that I put no effort into caring for it. There are some people who just dislike things, and then they put a whole lot of energy and effort into letting you know that they don't like it. I cannot I cannot like you as a person, but have to work with you. So I'm not going to dislike you. I just, hey, we don't vibe. We do what we have to do, and we keep it moving. Doesn't mean I dislike you. I don't engage a whole lot of people. So if I'm interacting with you, that in itself says, speaks volumes, about, how we connected. It's just about mutual respect, right? So I don't have to not like you. I just don't have to like you. So when you start looking at a person, and you start picking them apart, and this goes back to my Frankenstein theory, you start finding those parts in somebody else, and you wind up with this Frankenstein monster. So you have like 2, 3, 4, some more people who you kind of connect with because they give you very pieces that you find missing out of the one, instead of learning to appreciate what the other person does bring to the table. What the person does bring to the table. It's real easy to find flaws within the other person on both sides of the fence, right? But it's work when you have to learn to sacrifice and compromise and yield to certain aspects of the other person. I don't waste energy in a relationship about you. First of all, it's very demeaning to the other person, right? When every time, and and this is so, not so much so when it's legitimate, but if you just picking a person apart, all the time because that's what you want to do, and it has nothing to do with whether this relationship is going to flourish or not, that's an issue because nobody wants that. And if you feel the need to do that to a person, leave that person because that person will eventually leave you because of that conduct. Nobody wants to be picked apart all the time. But then you have to look at perception. What is all the time? If we keep being confronted with the same issue over and over again, and I keep bringing that same issue up, I'm bringing it up for what? For a reason. What's the reason? I told you last time how it negatively affects this relationship. Still no change in it. Still no change in it. That's different than when you sit in the house and you watch everything a person does. You watch everything a person does just to have something to say about that person. And ultimately, what it is, you're developing the laundry list. See, when people don't want to face and take responsibility and be held accountable for their bad behavior, then what they do is they accrue all these things that they possibly can that are negative about you. So as soon as you check them on a behavior, as soon as you confront them on a particular behavior that you have found to be hurtful, because displeasing is one thing, hurtful is another. Is another. I don't like when you do that. Okay, but is it a deal breaker? Is it something that is worth arguing about? No, I'm just gonna let you know in the moment. If I had some feeling about, but I'll also check myself because I need to see. If, how am I riding on this? Do I know that it exists and it's just something I find displeasing and I've turned it into hurtful? Because there's a difference. So you have to look at everything that you're saying to the other person, everything, because what you're saying that you may think is being constructive, that you think is a means to you being heard by the other person, because maybe you didn't have a voice in a previous relationship, and now you're being more vocal about things, but your being vocal has really turned into a stern tongue lashing as opposed to an expression of hurt feelings to your partner, the person who you're in this relationship with, who you want to understand. Hey, listen, I go through these moments, right? I have to make a decision as to whether I want to deal with you going through those moments. What does it look like when you're going through these moments? Are you saying and doing hurtful things, right? Because regardless of what it is that you're dealing with in terms of unresolved, you don't have the right to treat me poorly. You don't have the right to treat me badly. You don't have the right to keep telling me after you act out on one of your less endearing traits, you tell me I'm sorry, but you know what I go through. Yeah, you're right. I do know what you go through. But every time you go through it, you take me through all of this and you talk to me and that's not acceptable. Again, when people don't want to be held accountable, that's what they do. That's what they do. They keep telling you. They keep playing the victim role when what they're doing is they're actually victimizing you, right? So when you look at acceptance, uh, look at the other person. If you have a hard time accepting your own stuff, it's a good chance that you can't accept somebody else's. If you think you are like beyond or above, certain people's because of social status, economic background, whatever the case is, if you feel that way, you're not going to do well in a relationship. If you're selfish, you're not going to do well in a relationship. If you're not willing to compromise, yield to some things, if it always got to be your way, you are not going to have success in any relationship. Plain and simple. Uh, you may back to the article. You may clash with your partner's imperfections and seek to get rid of them. You may try to change the other person to better fit the fantasy you had in your mind. The hurt then comes in the form of your partner's inability to change as you would like. B, your inability to accept them for who they are. Your conscious mind may be focused on the first of these. You may find your partner irritating in ways you never would have imagined when first lusting after them. The second of these sources of pain may be deeper and less obvious. Somewhere in your unconscious, you will feel very uneasy about the negative reactions you have to your partner's flaws. And again, this is why you have to understand and you have to accept why you went into this relationship. And and this is really important, especially for people who have children and are still together and going through the chaos, still in the storm after years. The children are older, still seeing all this insanity. And especially those who are not living together, who continue to ride on this fantasy of who they are as a parent, who they told themselves they are as a parent, so that the child would side with them and they wouldn't lose that connect when all they did was actually just put a knife in the child's back, because both parents have the responsibility and both parents should be afforded their responsibility, and be have access to the child anytime they want. Anytime another person is in your life and they're telling you when your man and telling your man is telling you, no, nah, dude can't come over here now. No, you need to deal with that. If I'm available and the mother wants to come see the child, they can come see the child. If we have a football game or some other kind of event, the mother wants to come, absolutely, come on, go. If you are insecure about that, then it's time for you to move on, because we should have a good relationship. That the step parent has the same responsibility as the biological parent, right? The difference is in what they, and how they internalize that relationship and how they project themselves upon that step parent. So that's not even today's show. But it's a lot of things that happen with that. But your responsibility is always to correcting you first. So it says here, somewhere in your unconscious, you feel very uneasy about the negative reactions you have to your partner's flaws. Your conscious, your subconscious, and your unconscious are all operating at the same time. All at the same time. They don't happen like, okay, well, conscious just happened, subconscious. No, they're happening at the same time, at the very same time. And this is why you need to be careful with when you part ways with the other parent. Be done, because that's another hurtful aspect of this. You're not done with the lust. You're done with the middle stuff, but you're not done with the lust of that relationship. That's why so many go back and dibble and dabble into the old relationship, because sex wasn't the issue. It was the reality that their fantasy was not going to come true in this relationship. So you have to be done. And if you're done, stop going back and trying to work out what tore y'all apart. If you didn't fix it then, what makes you think you're gonna fix it now? And sometimes absence does that. But if you're absent from that person, then you should be conditioning yourself to move forward and go into parent mode as opposed to ex mode. Some people still run around, well, I'm his ex, because you still want to have a place, and it's allowed. He gives you that place. Yeah, that's my ex. No, 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 no. I'm your child's mother. I'm your child's father. See, when you keep allowing people to have certain titles upon them that give the appearance that it's more than you setting other people up, other people get hurt and all that stupidity, because that's what it is. My baby mama. No, she's not. That's like a more endearing uh, label. She's the mother of my child, right? That's what she is. He's the father of my child, of this child. Plain and simple. When you start to ask my baby mama, okay, well, what does that mean? So got to get clarity on those kind of things, right? And you got to put those things to an end because if you're not done, go be done. Don't drag somebody else into it. And a lot of us make those mistakes in bad marriages and bad relationships. You know, we venture out, and then that lust stage ends, and that person really begins to care, or you really begin to tell yourself that you really care about this person. When that eventually wears off too, when you start being taken to task on certain duties, like you ain't been over here in 2 weeks now. What's up with that? Now you done hurt somebody. Now you done turned this into something else. Now you want to say, "Oh, I just thought we was." Nah, nah. Uh, at, this is okay. Let's go back to art. As you struggle to accept them, they will undoubtedly struggle to accept you. They will rub up against your personality, your desires, your ways of doing things. You will ask yourself why they just can't accept you the way you are. And the challenge of accepting one another will be the source of significant anguish. And again, it's not going to end good for anybody. And it's on both of y'all. It's not just on one person, regardless of what happened. It's on both of you. If you weren't doing your part in the relationship, keeping your partner happy, if you weren't there being supportive, all the things that they probably told themselves that they didn't discuss with you and see if you were capable, all those things just fall to the wayside because it's not what you thought it was going to be. You thought that I was this person that was going to do this, and this. But it didn't turn out the way. I did that, this, that, and maybe this. Not enough. Right? You will hurt your partner, number three. Whether you like it or not, you will cause pain to the person you love. It's guaranteed in any relationship. You will say or do things that hurt their feelings, intentionally or otherwise. When you hurt someone, that hurt reflects back on you. You believe you shouldn't be capable of inflicting such pain on them because love should conquer all, or so you've been told. Eventually, the inevitable clashes that occur when two people form a bond will surface. This conflict hurts not because you feel attacked, but also because you realize you are capable of attacking the person you love. This realization may shock you suddenly. Yeah, I didn't know a person could bring that out of me. But it's certain things that we avoid uh, in our character because we know that the outcome won't be good. And then there's certain things that we, to a fault, will accept and accept and accept, and then wait to respond, to react. And it's usually everything that we failed to address before. Not the laundry list, but just on that one particular area of concern. We just never addressed it. But like you kept talking to me like I was some dude out on the street. That's a problem. That's how you talk to them out on the street. You don't talk to me like that. I pay the bills. I'm there for you. I support you. I encourage you. I motivate you. That's what things I'm supposed to be. We're supposed to be road dogs, ride or die. We're supposed to be all these things. And you talk to me like I'm just like Joe Blow off the corner. Ain't gonna happen. Uh, it says you will say or do things that hurt their feelings, intentionally or otherwise. When you hurt someone, that hurt reflects back on you. You believe you shouldn't be capable of inflicting such pain on them because love should conquer all. But love can't hold back the tide of emotion forever. Eventually, the inevitable clashes that occur when two people form a bond will surface. This conflict hurts not just because you feel attacked, but also because you realize you are capable of attacking the person you love. I wanted to read that again because I really want you to understand why some of the things become so difficult when you do clash. Um, you didn't expect it, and a lot of times, what my experience has been that, like, I'm a real accommodating person. You know, I know I know what I need to do. You need to show me the part that you need for you. Um, but the problem is usually the person's inability to make the adjustment to learn how to love me the way I need to be loved. Because there's a difference, right? It's one thing to a husband, but do you want to be a wife? Um, Number four is you doubt whether this person is right for you. How can this person be right for you if you are capable of hurting each other? What if there is someone out there who really is perfect for you? These sorts of thoughts are painful. You start looking at, you beating this person down because they didn't meet all these fantasy expectations that you laid out, unrealistic expectations that you put out. They didn't meet these things. And then you see them later on after y'all have broke up. You want to talk about, how you saw things this way and how you saw things that way. Well, you should have been looking at all of these things while you were together. You should have been looking at, can you do this? Do you have the capacity? You rather turn into the other person is incapable. No, do you have the capacity? That's the real deal. You start having doubts about me because, well, I didn't hold my fork a particular way during dinner. I talked about some things, while we were out with friends that you didn't think should you should have talked about because you weren't aware of it. Well, we ain't been together that long, for one thing. And how many couples really know each other even after being together for years? But subject matter came up. You didn't know anything about. You were blindsided about. Well, why you ain't never tell me this? Because I can't talk about everything all the time. You'll never get everything. You know. Um, Number five, you are anxious about the future of your relationship. What does the future hold for you and your partner? At what point do you really start thinking about that? At what point did you, if you haven't, at what point do you think you'll begin to ponder the future? Are we going to be together? How much longer are we going to be together? What do you do when you feel like we're not going to be together much longer? This isn't lasting. This isn't going to last. What do you do? What actions do you take? How do you begin to respond to that person? How do you respond to others who have interest in you? Right? Oh, you saw the people who were interested. You know who's interested. You know who you're interested in. And you think that, oh, that's the connect. Will it be happy? Will your future be happy with that person? What does happy look like? What does happy look like between you and that person? What does happy look like in your fantasy? Will it live up to the expectations and dreams you have? Are y'all going in two separate directions? Is this person a corporate person and you just a homebody? You don't really do a whole lot. This person is involved in a lot of different things. How do you react to that? Does that fall in line with what it is that you do? This person is like you, but you like to travel. You want to do these, all these other things. This person just like good, just sitting home watching football every Sunday, even in the off season. Will the relationship be fulfilling in the long term? What is fulfillment? What does that look like? What does being fulfilled look like to you? Are we still in lust mode because you just want to be sexually fulfilled? Because you make your own money, because you have your own house, your own car, and that's for male or female. What's the point? Because you can never know the answer to these questions. You might fret and worry about what lies ahead of you. In a nutshell, love hurts. Love hurts. It takes work. Um, and oftentimes it comes to a crashing in because of this fantasy that you created in your head about what you think things should be. Yeah. I thought life was going to be fantastic, great, wonderful with a six-figure salary. Not just have more money. You can do more things. Doesn't make life more fulfilling. I money, if I had money, like that ugly money, I'd be doing other things to benefit other people. Obviously, I'd be doing daddies right here in a facility, because I want a family visitation and education center. I want to build that. It's a whole compound of different things that, families can do together, father time, to participate in different things in building, rebuilding that family life together. Always including mom. If you say daddy, that means mother. So the daddy's right here, family visitation, education center has always been a dream. So it's things that I would do, that I would, to go out and buy this and buy that and get all these other things. Sure, I like to have a boat. I can't swim a lick, but I love to go fishing. I like to have a little boat. I don't need no like $20 million yacht stuff like that. I don't need that. I get a damn rowboat, inflatable, one of them blow up boats. I don't need all that stuff because I no longer feel the need to have those things. I don't need. I have enough clothes and I never have to buy clothes again. Footwear, never have to, jewelry, never have to. I've achieved everything in my career, right? So, love for me is great companionship um, with buddies, with homies. You know what I'm saying? We can laugh, joke, talk about anything. Um, the whole ride or die concept, I don't know. We good, we cool. I ain't always gonna die with you, you know. So it's just how you perceive things and what makes it good for you, good for me. It's for me. It's like I like the companionship, man. I like having somebody to talk to and enjoy TV and stuff. I spent many years of my life not, so I'm good on either side. But when you start telling somebody you love them, you really have to be able to explain that. Yeah, because if you're still riding on lust, you're riding on dopamine, oxytocin, and I forgot the other chemical. It begins with a V. Uh, but you have to look at all those things that are happening. That's not love. You get the same thing from ice cream. You get the same thing from a good movie. Yeah, same signals. Just an increase in dopamine. That's not love. So just take a look at where you are in your current relationship and ask yourself: is there a future here? Is this benefiting where it is that you want to go? Is this somebody I can go there with? That's really what you got to look at, man. You got to look at the real deal, and all of this. Um, but I'm your host as always, Shabir Aleem. I am not doing another damn two-hour show. I just kind of been on the roll. I had a lot of stuff to purge. I'm retired now, so I should be doing more shows. Not just on this, but I will be doing some more things on Aleem for you, man. Wait till y'all see the site. Wait till y'all see the merchandise. I got the hoodie dresses that they wear with the boots and the clack fans. I got clack fans. Yeah, yeah. You won't get these clack fans anywhere ever. So make sure you jump on those things. Go to aleemforyou.net. We have stuff on Etsy, but just go to aleemforyou.net and all the merchandise is right there. More stuff coming. We got some Christmas stuff already out. Yeah, I ain't playing. Some Halloween gear out. Yeah, if you're trying to get that Halloween dress, you're trying to get that Halloween party fan, got them. You want that Christmas fan, got them. Want that Christmas dress, got them. Already start putting out some cardigans and jackets for the ugly jacket for that ugly Christmas party. You know that well, they turned ugly, but your ugly sweaters. Got them. A lame for you dot net. Make sure you check us out. Make sure you check out my music. Yeah, I got some music. I do a little something with the music thing, right? Just Google Sabir Aleem or put Sabir Aleem in your search bar on your favorite music streaming platform. Bam, I'm right there. I'm working on some new stuff too, man. Got some stuff coming. But listen, as always, you could be doing anything else on a Saturday morning at 9 o'clock than listening to my damn mouth. I so appreciate you for doing that. I can't say it enough. I come for you. Yeah. So we can learn together. So we can have this experiential moment together. Thank y'all because it helps me. Peace.